Hello and welcome to another episode of the Things by the eCommerce podcast. Today I am talking to Hillary Scott. Hello, Hillary.
Hi, Norbert. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely great to have you here. Thanks for joining. Hillary, let us dive right away into the interview. How did you get first into e-commerce?
Well, this is a family business, so I'm actually the second generation to run Halstead. So I
Oh,
watched my
cool.
parents. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's nearly a 50-year-old company. So it started out in the catalog and mail order space and then gradually evolved into e-commerce. So we started back in the Dreamweaver days.
Yeah, and did your catalog still do you still have them or
hmm
yeah, still so mixed up catalog and e-commerce.
hmm
That's great. Do the people still use catalogs or is more into the e-commerce world already?
Definitely more e-commerce
Yeah.
on the transactional level, but we still consider print to be a really important part of our marketing strategy.
hmm Yeah, it's a mixed world. I hear that very often, especially in B2B market, that catalogs are still important because you need something that is on your table and you can go through
hmm
it and maybe even show material pictures and so on a printed
hmm
level. So that and the order process. What do you see here? Are your customers going to the store, log in, and purchase based on their pricing, or do they still call you or send fax?
No, no calls or fax anymore. It's definitely 95% web shopping cart transactions, even though we're B2B. That's just the way everybody sources now.
Okay, great. What exactly do you sell?
So we sell parts and materials for jewelry businesses. So we are
hmm
B2B. We don't sell finished jewelry. We just sell the components and, findings and chains that are necessary for jewelers to make their work.
hmm Got it. And what's your current e-com stack?
So most of our stack is proprietary. We are using a platform called Znode, but we're not using one of the major players like Magento or anything like that.
hmm
As a general rule, we try to steer clear of software as a service as much as possible. It really can eat into the business model very quickly.
Okay.
So we're lucky enough to have in-house developers and an IT team here that is very
hmm
skilled. So we try to run as independently as possible.
Great. And do you also utilize other platforms than your e-com store to sell online, or is it just the e-com store?
Mostly just the e-com. There's some plugins for, of course, credit card processing and sales tax quotes and things like that. So we do need some of those accessory services,
hmm
but we try to keep it as simple and streamlined as we can.
And are there specific platforms like I'd say like Amazon for B2C? Actually, Amazon also has now the B2B track, let's call it like this.
hmm
But are there any specific kind of platforms where jewelry companies come and find new suppliers and where you
mhm.
list?
There are definitely those marketplace facilitators in the space, but we do not sell on any marketplaces. So we run 100% of our transactions through our independent interface.
Oh, wow, that's great. So you
hmm
don't have problems to find new customers, even you're just on the website and have a good online marketing.
Yeah, so we have a great marketing team here, and
Mhm.
we're very well known in our niche market in the jewelry world. So we continue to leverage that reputation and attract new clients who enter the jewelry space through our relationships there.
Cool. Do you have any specific person in your team that is focused on operations?
In the digital sense, we have an IT team, but we have an
hmm
entire warehouse team here in picking, shipping, and fulfillment as well. So yes, we definitely have leadership for that team. That's great at the fulfillment side of things.
Yeah. And when we see your team, so you also pick and pack and ship, so you don't have
hmm
external warehouse who is fulfilling for you. How is the
No.
process? So how do you do this? Is
Uh-huh.
this somehow connected to your store when an order comes in to populate all
hmm
the shipping documents, or how is this done?
Well, it's kind of a mix of automation and human touch, right? So we have
hmm
a customer service team that processes all of the orders that come into our website. and makes any additional notations, communicates back and forth with the client if there are shortages, for example, or any issues on the order. We have about 5,000 different products that are all sold in different
Wow.
pack sizes.
Yeah.
And it's all very small parts, right?
Yeah.
So our warehouse is not that big because everything we sell is very, very tiny. So once an order is completed, it goes, down to our warehouse logistics team, where they print out a pick list and go through pick, pack, and ship in the warehouse, just like you would at Amazon. Fewer robots, no robots.
No robots, only human.
Only human, but it looks very
Yeah.
similar.
I
Yeah.
guess you will have a lot of fun when you do the inventory once a year.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely need your readers on for all those little bitty pieces.
Yeah, I guess. Um, your customers, I often see in the B2B world that, especially when it comes to manufacturers and B2B customers relationship, that the your customers sell the goods then to the end user. And they
Mhm.
often request things like a data feed of the products, or some kind of direct connection to the e-commerce solution, so they can create an order that is automatically placed in your store. Is this something that you also see, that those requests come in?
Less and less. Our industry has changed a lot in the last, decades, like many
Hmm.
industries. Our product is largely transformed by our clients. So our customers are jewelers, they're artisans. So they are taking our components and our raw materials and transforming them into finished jewelry. So
Hmm.
they don't really need stock video or photography that they can then pass straight through their pipeline, because the products look so very different by the time they reach the end consumer. So that was once a high demand service for us, when there were a lot of brick and mortar small retailers in the space that were, supplying jewelers in their local markets. But we've really seen the industry consolidate through the supply chain, and that's less of an issue than it once was.
Hmm. So there was a dealer between you and the jewelry
Mm-hmm.
in the past. I know those as well from the shops that we did. So they just resold what you have, and they needed that. Yeah, I understand. And now the jewelry comes directly to you and purchases directly.
Mm-hmm.
Was this
Yep.
a huge transition, or is this did this went step by step, that this part was cut off?
I think step by step, in a lot of industries, we're seeing that middle space get squeezed
Mm-hmm.
more and more. That's part of the digital revolution. So even a lot of international supply is happening direct to consumer now. And that's been an interesting challenge for us as an e-commerce distributor, to really stay relevant and build value at
Yeah.
our point in the supply chain to, really serve our client base and understand their needs.
Hmm. Got it. What do you do to ensure that your customers always have the same experience and a constantly good quality with your services?
Well, on the supply side, we do a lot of lab testing.
Hmm.
We do work in jewelry and precious metals, so there is a pretty high burden and expectation of quality standards. So we just do send out products regularly for verification testing on metals purity, for
Hmm.
example, to make sure that we are, selling exactly what we say we're selling, and we have no issues there. On the service side, our onboarding process for our team is really important, and how we train our people to provide consistent service. One of the things we're very proud of at Halstead is that we have an in-house jewelry and metalsmithing education program, where all
Hmm.
of our staff goes through jewelry making and repair training, so that they understand the problems our clients face and can help them on the service side with both technical issues and business issues.
Hmm. That's cool. How many people do you have?
25. We're lean and
25.
mean.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's really
Yeah.
great. How is it going for you during this COVID pandemic?
It was bumpy at first,
Yeah.
and very stressful. But what we've seen, certainly in the domestic market, is the e-commerce business surge has really benefited our clients, who largely, sell online or very quickly pivoted to online jewelry sales to serve those changing consumer behaviors. So we've actually seen business recover very quickly.
Hmm.
And in recent months, we've even seen, sales growth compared to the same periods last year. So
Yeah.
we're feeling very, very lucky.
That's cool. Yeah, I've seen that as well. That is especially well, consumer goods. You are at home. You want to make things more beautiful. You have time to browse and to purchase something. So there is an increase, of course, in online purchases. And yeah, I can assume that this finally reflects to the suppliers, so that
Mhm,
that everything that is online really had a boost due to that. Um,
mhm.
is there automation at some point in your company? So is there does automation play a role in your operations?
It definitely does on the processing side in
Yeah.
terms of streamlining shopping cart orders as they come in and are prepared for the picking step. Our product has some unique quirks, so every year we get better at streamlining those processing steps in the computer systems. But we're not using automation too much in the picking process, other than standard barcoding and pick batch consolidation, things like that.
Yeah.
So it gets better every year, and the technology keeps advancing as well, which is very helpful.
Yeah, I need to agree. um, what will your ops team be focused in the next 2 years?
Oh goodness, that's a great question. We're definitely working on refining the barcoding and batch picking pieces in our warehouse right now. We have some catch up to do on the technology there because it has come so far. So there are efficiencies to be gained in logistics. So we'll be chasing those down quite a bit and reviewing our warehouse mapping. So that's a big focus area. Goodness, other than that, just trying to get through this COVID thing. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a bit of a long road, and I think consumer behaviors have been permanently altered. So we're all still trying to figure out how that's going to settle and impact sales in the long term.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really hard scenario to see what's going on in the next let's say the next year.
Hmm.
Also here in Austria, a lot of companies need to quit jobs because of that, and finally the volume of the money that the people have gets of course less, and therefore they will start to save some money with not purchasing anymore online, even if we had a boost online. On the other hand, we will see a lot of e-commerce stores popping up on every edge, um, and I think that yeah, the time of course will show, but it's gonna be anyway for all businesses a different time. I
Hmm.
think we
Absolutely.
need to have different approaches and see where we can make business. Um, who has taught you the most about e-commerce in your career?
Oh my goodness. A lot of people. I
Mom and
really,
dad?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
really, I would say that's true. And even though it's changed so much in the last 20 years, I do credit my parents for kind of being pioneers in the e-commerce shift. Back when all of this started in the 90s, starting an e-commerce website was a risky proposition, and
Oh
it was
yeah.
very clunky. So they had the foresight to invest in that very early in the process, and then keep evolving with the technology as it moved forward. So IT has always been a major strategic advantage for our company. We have an in-house IT team, and we make sure that we are never cutting corners on our servers and our hardware and our network. That is definitely an investment worth making in your business.
Yeah. Can understand that. My father had a shipping or don't know the right word in English at the moment, but he also sold good, not online, because electronic parts that was also for B2B, and
Mhm.
it was only on catalogs. So
Mhm.
I when I was 14 years old, started to create those catalogs. So I had a 2-week training, and this was my first step into e-commerce in the sales business on not online, yeah. And finally, the catalogs, of course, gone away, and it moved to selling on online stores. But this was a huge step, and I think transforming from the printing catalogs, sending catalogs business to e-commerce is a process that will take place for every industry that is still printing. It's not only the um, that is more comfortable to purchase online or to have every orders in a portal. It's also the from the nature part, so that you don't pollute the air with producing paper and printing and so on. So I think this is something that is really good for us in the e-commerce business, that this is a transaction that goes at the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Hillary, thank you very, very much for your time. It was really a pleasure to talk to you and to get a few insights on how the e-commerce business works for you during that time as a B2B business channel. And I wish you good luck in the future. Stay healthy.
Thank you, Norbert. You as well.
Thank you. Talk soon. Bye-bye.